was a Muslim at the time of persecution, and he went out and announced his Islam at a time when it was dangerous to do so, when the people started to beat on him for going out and reciting the Quran or announcing his Islam. Al-Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhu came out when they started hitting him, and he said, "You guys better watch out, woe to you. Don't you know this is a man from Ghifar?" And they all backed off. Because even when he was so he wasn't guarded or protected in Mecca when he came to accept Islam because he was from the nobles. He was guarded because people feared the man's tribe. So he came from a very, from a rough background, entered into Islam, and his name was, actually many people don't know this, and sometimes it shows up in hadith literature and it catches you off guard. His name was actually Jundub. Abu Dharr is the kunya. Jundub al-Ghifari radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And I want to say something about Abu Dharr before we get into this discussion. Okay, because I believe he's been mentioned in every class so far. The Prophet ﷺ said about Abu Dharr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, مَا أَضَلَّتِ الْخَضْرَاءُ وَلَا أَقَلَّتِ الْغَبْرَاءُ أَصْدَقَ مِنْ أَبِي ذَرٍّ. That the earth has not carried, nor has the sky shadowed, or nor has the sky covered a man more trustworthy and truthful than Abu Dharr. أَصْدَقُ مِنْ أَبِي ذَرٍّ. A man who has that much sincerity and truth. And sidq is an intensive form of sincerity. So there is no man more truthful and sincere than this man, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Which makes the hadith that we're going to narrate that much more peculiar. The title of this chapter is To Seek or Not to Seek Leadership. So here's the hadith. Abu Dharr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he narrates, قَالَ قُلْتُ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. He said, I said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أَلَا تَسْتَعْمِلُنِي. Aren't you going to use me in any way? And what he means by that, aren't you going to appoint me as a leader in some form of public office? Aren't you going to give me a position? And Abu Dharr is not asking for his ego. He's asking, clearly the Prophet ﷺ testified to his internal purity, that there is no man with more sidq, more truthfulness than this man inside of him. So he wants to be used. He is genuinely inquiring for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that he can be in a position to do more good for the sake of his religion. He says that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam فَضَرَبَ بِيَدِهِ عَلَى مَنْكِبِي ثُمَّ قَالَ, that he put his hand on my shoulder. Like the Prophet ﷺ put his hand on my shoulder to console me, to tell me something. And he said to me, يَا أَبَا ذَرْ إِنَّكَ ضَعِيفٌ. He said, "O Abu Dharr, listen, you are a weak man. وَإِنَّهَا أَمَانَةٌ. And this leadership position is a trust." The Prophet ﷺ used the word trust, amana. وَإِنَّهَا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ خِزْيٌ وَنَدَامَةٌ. And on the day of judgment, it will be disgrace and remorse. Now, what have we been talking about? Imamun adil, the man who's under, or the woman we said, because imam can be extended, the leader who's under the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the people that have the manabir, the pulpits of light. But those are the few that are able to make it with the test of leadership. Just as the majority of the people of hell are wealthy, and the majority of the people of heaven, the people of paradise, are poor. But those who are wealthy, and the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Ghani al-Shakir, that the rich, grateful man, or the rich, grateful person, is just like bimanzilat as-sa'im as-sabr, just like the one who's patient and who fasts. Meaning, there will be wealthy, righteous people, but they are the minority of the people of paradise. Likewise, with leadership, the minority of those who take a position, who end up in some form of position, will end up being incredibly honored, with intense honor on the Day of Judgment.